Hey everyone, I'm the Rev, and for this video I'm back on Le Mans Ultimate. Now this week I've been trying to get used to all my new kit. If you didn't see the last video, we've changed from a full Fanatec setup to a SimUcube 2 Pro and some SimGrade VX Pro pedals, so I was having to spend the week getting used to the new kit. So after a good bit of offline practice, I decided it was time to jump back into the online and see how the kit worked in some real racing situations. So the lights have gone green for this GT3 beginner race at Monza. What's the worst that can happen? We've got all new kit and it's the worst turn one in sim racing. But if you want to get used to a new set of pedals, I'd say that Monza's the track to do it on. I was struggling initially with the SimGrade VX Pro pedals, I have to be honest. I was struggling with the brake pedal, it was much harder than the Fanatec setup and it took me a lot of tweaking to get it right. However, I was quite confident that I got it into a decent place, and because of that, that's why I was happy to jump into this online race. Now as turn 1 at Monza goes, that was really clean. There was no big incidents, there was nobody sent to the Shadow Realm. I've got a decent run onto this Porsche, into the Roja. I'm up the inside, I make sure to keep it nice and wide, give him the room, no contact, and it's a decent, clean move on traction out of the Roja. I'll take that one. So we're up to 12th place, and as I was finding my feet in terms of the new equipment, I was hoping that I could eventually start to move forward in this race. Now there is going to be an extremely controversial moment in this race, as you'll see in a bit. However, at this moment in time, all I'm going to concentrate on is trying to hang on to that BMW in front. We've got S-Tunk there in the BMW. It was a very popular car for this race, as it's no slouch in a straight line. Just like the Mustang, it was also popular. You're not going to see many Porsches in this race, because I don't think it's much cop in a straight line. So I'd gone for the Mustang, because I knew that was decent in a straight line. The lads ahead, they're pushing, there's dust being kicked up on Le Mans Ultimate. It's a fantastic looking game, it really is. It's probably the best looking sim out there right now, and considering how good Automobilista 2 looks, that's high praise, because Automobilista 2 looks brilliant. But I'd say this just edges it at the moment. Into the Parabolica there, I get that all sorts of wrong, don't get the traction that I'd like, and that's going to cost me now all the way down the straight. But I was managing to hang on to these lads. There was a long way to go, nearly 18 minutes of this race left to play out, and it was so far so good. Let's skip it forward now though, to a little bit further into lap 2. With every single lap I was getting more used to the equipment and I was managing to hold on to these lads in front. Now it's fair to say that I'd had my ups and downs with the new equipment this week. I think initially when I couldn't get the brake pedal to feel right, I was a little bit worried and I thought, oh no Rev, what have you done here? You had the Fanatec setup feeling just how you liked it and you've gone for a wholesale change. You've not just changed the pedals, you've not just changed the wheelbase, you've literally changed every single piece of your equipment. I was a little bit like Lewis Hamilton jumping into the Ferrari after being in the Mercedes for so long, except I don't have anywhere near the same amount of skill that Lewis Hamilton has in his little finger, so it was going to take me a lot longer to get used to my new equipment. But as the week progressed, I certainly settled down with it and I started to fall in love with everything. The SimUcube 2 Pro, absolutely fantastic wheelbase, it's like a tank, and the quick release system, oh my god, it's rock solid. There is no movement in that quick release whatsoever. There was always a little bit of play in the Fanatec quick release and you could hear it move around a bit every now and again. Not with this. This is absolutely rock solid. It's fantastic, it really is. The build quality, it's just second to none. It really is. And I never had an issue with the Fanatec stuff. I always felt that that was really well built, but this is on another level. And I say that having bought every piece of equipment with my own money. I'm just a customer just like you. I've digressed there a little bit, talking about the new stuff. I know that's not why you're here for the race, my bad. We move now on to lap 3. We're up behind S-Tunk, 0.4 seconds is the gap. We're doing well, so far so good, however the race does unravel, as you'll find out. Our last lap, that was a 151.9, that's not good enough, but luckily we're up on this split. I managed to get some decent traction out of the Roja. You can feel the rear tyres biting the tarmac and it hook up really well. This group of cars ahead, they were really close and I knew that if they started to fight one another, that was going to give me the chance to get onto the back of them and try and get involved in the little fight. Flying there, out of Lesmo 2. Ever so slightly in the slipstream of the BMW ahead, but it's not going to be strong enough to try and make any kind of move into the Variante Ascari. However, There is a battle up ahead, they're too wide. The BMW's pulled back in, we're going through one by one. No contact, no issues. Safely through the Variante Ascari. We'd managed to settle down nicely, the pace was decent enough, and this was looking good for having a decent race. We could see all the way up to 8th position. So I was thinking at this moment in time, a top 10 finish wasn't out of the question. Everybody bunches up a little bit there into the Parabolica, managed to hook the rear tyres up nicely this time as we fire ourselves onto the straight. That BMW though, I tell you, this Mustang is good in a straight line, but that BMW is no slouch at all. However, into the first chicane, this is where there's going to be a chain of events that's going to set about the downfall when it comes to this race. The Mustang ahead, he's defending his position from the BMW, it's a late move from the other Beamer, but we just managed to catch sight of a red BMW getting all out of shape. He ends up on the grass, he's coming now, cuts across the track, onto the grand curve, and that is going to cause everyone to bunch up even more. A Spans it is in 9th position, he's in the red BMW, he got all out of shape coming out of turn 2, and that's going to cause a big bunch up now into the Roja. Onto the brakes, down to first. Spans is still wide, he's still losing positions. Tunk's got a fantastic run. Quick glance to the right hand side, we've got a slow BMW, we've gone round him, we're up to 11th. Tunk is through, up the inside of Spans into the first Lesmo. The door, it's still open, there's loads of room. I'm going to be late on the brakes into Lesmo 2. There's a little bit of contact onto the curb. Spans doesn't like that one bit. And that's the end of our race. Now, we're going to have another look at that one, because I'm not one for reporting people, but I did ask the question in the Le Mans Ultimate Discord as to what people thought of that. Was it worth reporting? And the general consensus on the Le Mans Ultimate Discord was that was my fault. So we're going to ride on board now with Spans. Here he is going through Lesmo 1, he's going to lose a position to the BMW. You can see my yellow Mustang in the rear there. He's not able to come across and close the door from me. The door is open. If we slow it down now to 50% speed, I've lunged into Lesmo 2 100%. The lunge is completely on me. However, he's now continuing to turn right. And he stays turning right the whole time until I'm gone. So let's have a look from the chase camera. You can see me up the inside very late into the second Lesmo, that's on me. However, this one is not. Boom, end of my race. So the consensus on the Discord was that I didn't leave enough room on the exit. Now I'm sorry, and if there is any young ones in the room, you might want to cover their ears at this moment in time. Are they covered? Good. I didn't leave enough room. Absolute bollocks. How much more room am I supposed to leave him? I'm still turning right, I'm still trying to give him more room as he turns right into me and unceremoniously spins me out. Now regular viewers will know that I'm more than happy to accept responsibility when I do stupid things. I've done many a stupid thing. The dive into Lesmo 2, it's probably too late. I felt that the space was there, the door was open, so I was going to put my car there. It was probably too late, so the dive into Lesmo 2, that's on me. However, being taken out on the exit, that's just ridiculous. And to say that that one's my fault, I'm sorry, but I can't accept that one. That's not my fault. But it is what it is, and we get on with our lives. So we move on now to race number 2. That one was a complete disaster, so we was hoping for a better result from race 2. And for this race, I'd qualified much better. I was in 5th. Again, a group of BMWs, but we did have a Mustang on pole. What was it going to be like into turn 1? Now, I didn't want to be the cause of any kind of accident, and I knew that I was very close to that BMW, so I lifted off nice and early. I'd much rather lose places at the start than be the cause of a great big accident. There was a tiny bit of contact between me and the BMW on the right hand side there as we came out of turn 2, but as turn 1 at Monza goes, once again, that's not too bad at all. Maybe the track doesn't deserve the reputation that it does. The Mustang in the lead, he's managed to eke out a nice early gap, so it's going to be bye-bye to him. We need a decent Roja. There's dust being kicked up once again as the cars just drift to the outside into the gravel. I'm mindful now that I've got Strauss behind me in the red and white BMW. I'm going to need a decent couple of Lesmos as to not invite a move from him into the Variante Ascari. Into Lesmo 2 now, hook it up on the curb at the inside and light up the rear tyres of this Mustang. The gap behind, that stayed the same. He's not close enough to be in the slipstream. I think we're going to be safe into the Variante Ascari. I'm not going to go defensive. I'm just going to try and settle down. Qualifying wise, the qualifying time was better than it was for race 1. I qualified better and I was just happier within the car. I was getting more used to the Mustang round this track and I was getting more and more familiar with my equipment. Up ahead there you can see the BMWs, they're in each other's slipstreams, they're quite close. Once again, if they can start battling, we can hopefully have a decent little race and get involved in that fight. There's only the Mustang that's leading, then it's all BMWs until you get to us, the Mustang once again. The BMW certainly was the car of choice at this daily race at Monza. The two BMWs ahead, they're extremely close, weaving from side to side. He's gone defensive. Can we pick up the pieces? If there's any kind of contact between them, I'm decent on the brakes. Just managed to get it stopped, but there's contact ahead. We've got a spinner. We managed to not get involved. But Cremona, he's in 3rd place at this moment in time, drops to 4th. He just got on the gravel. That's going to cost him some momentum. He's lost that place. He's down to 4th. I'm going to try and go around the outside, round Curva Grande. However, that's a gap that's always going to disappear, so I get out the throttle. Fully within his rights there to move across to the left-hand side of the track to defend his position. Great driving, great racing. So we're still close now though, into the Lesmos. However, I think we need to have a quick look what happened at that contact in turn 2. From the TV cameras we can see that the BMW's ahead of me, they're side by side. However, it's ahead of them, there's a bit of contact on the way in, and then on the exit there's a bit of a spin. So due to that contact in turn 2, we're up to 5th place. We've settled into the race nicely as we come now towards the Variante Ascari on lap 2. Can we do anything else? Can we make some more forward progress in this race? The pace wasn't terrible, but it wasn't fantastic either. I certainly needed to get more used to this SimGrade VX Pro brake pedal. Sometimes I wouldn't brake hard enough, sometimes I'd brake too hard. Don't forget, I've had the Fanatec brake pedal now for 2, nearly 3 years, so that pedal is in my muscle memory, and I needed to forget that now and to try and get used to this new one, to commit the SimGrade VX Pro brake pedal to my muscle memory. Strauss now, he's got a cracking little run in my slipstream as we head down the start-finish straight. I've gone defensive straight away. He's got a good run, he's pulled out to the left-hand side. Stupidly, I'm concentrating on him, brake far too late. Have to take evasive action, and I managed to just get away with that one. That was absolutely moronic. I can't blame the brake pedal for that one. That was just me concentrating on Strauss and not braking early enough. Ridiculous, that Reverend. During the loss of control, I'd managed to pass a good few cars illegally, so I had to let those cars past, and rightly so. When I recorded this clip and renamed it, I actually called the clip "The Rev is a Moron," and that's what you're about to see. Moronic braking, all wrong, and I just managed to clatter into the side of the BMW, and luckily I didn't completely clean that BMW out. That would have been a nightmare and I would have ruined his race, so I'm really sorry for that. Looking from the chase cam, I don't concentrate, I'm far too late on the brakes, I'm well into the ABS, straight into the side of him. That's ridiculous. Pathetic driving from yours truly, and I'm happy, more than happy, to hand all those places back. So after that example of how not to brake into turn 1, I knew that I was going to have to get my head down to try and catch back up to this group. I was down to 7th, could I get my 5th place finish back? We'll certainly give it our best. Skipping ahead now to lap 4, I'd managed to catch back up onto the back of the group ahead, so we were looking good. I could see all the way up to 3rd place, and bar any more mistakes, I was hoping for a decent finish. I wasn't quite close enough this time to slipstream the BMW, but ahead the lads are having a battle as they head into the Parabolica. Those two BMWs ahead side by side, there's a bit of contact again, he spins, he's going to come backwards, we managed to avoid him, thank God for that, and with that we're up to 4th place. The Reverend couldn't believe his luck. 4th place, let's have a look what happened. The red and white BMW, he's going on the defensive into the Parabolica. There's a little bit of a gap, it's not big enough. One BMW clatters the other. And just like that, the rev was up to 4th. Skipping ahead now to lap 8. For the last 4 laps, I've had my head down and I've pumped in some decent lap times, the very low 1 minute 51s. And slowly but surely, I was closing the gap to Strauss ahead. If I could just keep up this pace, I might be able to salvage another position or 2 before the end of this race. I was decent there through the Rozier, little bit of a squirm there from Strauss into Lesmo 1, and all the time I'm creeping up onto the back of him. Can I get a decent run out of Lesmo 2? It's not the best, but it's not the worst as we power this Mustang down the straight. I had managed to take that gap down to just under a second. There was 3 laps to go. All I had to do was trying to keep putting Strauss under pressure. But Strauss, to be fair to him, he was trying to go for 2nd place. That was a decent run on the brakes into the Variante Ascari, and every lap I was getting more familiar with this brake pedal. The SimGrade VX Pro pedals, they've definitely been the star of the show of this upgrade so far. Like I said, takes some getting used to, but I'm quite sure that once I'm used to them, I'll feel just as good and just as at home with them as I did with the Fanatec gear. All in all, I've definitely felt that the upgrade was just that. It was an upgrade. Never had any issue with the Fanatec gear. However, this just feels a cut above. We've got Strauss now. He's moving out on 2nd place. Is he going to be able to go up the inside into turn 1? And who knows, could I be able to pick up any pieces? He's late on the brakes. He manages to get it stopped. Only just though. He's done the power early. There's contact. There's contact. They both exit stage left. The rev's made up. The button box is flashing for the yellow flag. I love that little feature. Let's have a look. What on earth has just happened in turn 2? Looking at the TV cameras, Strauss has got a cracking run. He's up the inside. He's late on the brakes, really late. He just manages to get it stopped, but he has to take a tighter line into turn 2. He's too early on the power, and he gets given a helping hand in turning around. And with that, the Reverend was gifted 2nd place. And that was the final bit of action in this race as we skip forward to the final lap. It's lap 11 of 11 as we round the Parabolica. There was no catching Trapani. He's gone in the Mustang, but it's a Mustang 1-2. We'll certainly take that. We were gifted that one, boys, but we'll take it every day. So what did that do for our overall rank? Well, they both went up, so I don't think you can argue with that. As always, I've been the Reverend. Thank you very much for watching.